Hello. Hello. Hey, everybody. How's it going? This is Carl. Welcome to Carl's Opinion, and welcome to our Wednesday night, late night live call in show. And got a lot of news to cover. You saw from the headlines there I had up. President Obama committed at least three impeachable offenses. He approved the wiretapping for Angela Merkel on her personal cell phone, approved spying on the Senate Intelligence Committee, and he also approved the spying of 20 Associated Press reporters. And you can only imagine if that was President Trump, what would be going on right now. I mean, you'd have wall-to-wall TV coverage, big panel discussions. It's a constitutional crisis, especially when he allowed the CIA to spy on the Senate Intelligence Committee, because they were going to write a report regarding the intense interrogation, or whatever they used to call it back then, the torture of people to get information, and the CIA didn't want that uncovered. So they were spying on them. They attacked their server units, had all their correspondence, emails, probably had their phones, everything. And when Josh Earnest, the press secretary, was asked about it at the White House, he just said, "Well, they said you're going to fire, Brennan, for what he did. I mean, he spied on an oversight committee. He spied, separation of powers, constitutional crisis." And he says, "Well, Brennan's been a really great guy, and he helped us defeat Al Qaeda, and he said he's going to take care of it, so we trust him." And that was it. And can you imagine if that was Trump, if he got caught spying on, the Senate, like say he was spying on Adam Schiff's committee right now, and he had Gina Haspel, the CIA director, doing it. And they said, "Well, you're going to fire Gina Haspel? Well, she's done a good job, so we're just going to keep her in. We're okay with that." My God, it would be a nightmare. And then as far as spying on Angela Merkel, I mean, it was like that was it. They just made a joke about it. And Saturday Night Live, you can tell how they treated it. They treated the story like, oh, it's nothing. I remember the skit, and they show Obama impersonator talking to Angela Merkel impersonator, obviously, and they show Obama says, "Hey, Angela, how you doing?" She goes, "You know how I'm doing." Everybody goes, "Ha ha 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 ha." That's so funny. Can you imagine if Trump? I mean, they talk about Trump being mean to our allies and making them pay, the money from NATO, and talking trash to them, and dealing with them on the tariffs, and he's dissolving our great alliance. All the actions he's doing, the way he talks to them in public. Oh, it's so terrible, so disgusting. None of them said it was disgusting that he got caught spying. Only got caught because Snowden. Leaked it all, as a quote-unquote whistleblower. And, of course, Obama hated whistleblowers. He prosecuted more whistleblowers than any other president combined in the history of this country. And he used an old, antiquated 1917 Espionage Act to go after people, reporters, everybody. Reporters, members of the staff, people, in the intelligence community, anybody he didn't like. Well, actually, not in the intelligence community, but pretty much staff, everybody. He just went after everybody, primarily reporters. James Rosen wiretapped him, a full thing, cell phones, everything. And those 20 AP reporters, they knew that when their cell phones got, tapped, it's not just a phone. Back then it was like it is pretty close to like it is now. I mean, you had your Google searches, you had your location history. These guys are having any affairs on their wives or anything. They knew that now, so that would be a real chilling effect on any stories they write. They knew they had that information on them. And nobody said it. Nobody said anything back then. That was nothing. But anyway, let's take a look at these stories we got here, and let's see. Go ahead and get to this right now. All right, Obama era spying. Now this was Real Clear Politics. They wrote an article back in May talking about Obama spying could be a political risk for Joe Biden. And it's been a very good week for Biden. This is back in May. One of Biden's biggest assets, close association with Barack Obama. He doesn't have his endorsement, but Bacon would talk a lot about Barack Obama, and he goes, "Yeah, he did." So anything that undermines the 44th president legacy hurts all Democrats and Biden most of all. That's the danger posed by Attorney General Bill Barr's commitment to investigate how the massive prolonged investigation into Trump-Russia collusion began, whether it was conducted properly, and how the information from it was illegally leaked to the media. So this is May. This is right after he appointed John Durham to head this up, and right away, this is back in May. So this also is also telling him that Trump was doing all this, way before the July 25th phone call, and Real Clear Politics picked up on it. Let's take a look at a couple of the other stories here. Want to get to? Let's see here. Nope. Let's see. And this was a story covered overseas. Barack Obama approved tapping Angela Merkel's phone 3 years ago. This story was written back in 2013. So he initially approved of it in 2010. It didn't become public again until Snowden leaked it, the surveillance programs, and leaked it. But he approved it back in 2010. So Mr. Obama was told of the secret monitoring of Ms. Merkel by General Keith Alexander, the head of the NSA, in 2010, according to the German newspaper. So this is from what newspaper? The Telegraph, and this was written back in 2013. President Barack Obama was dragged into the transatlantic spying row after it was claimed he personally authorized a monitoring Angela Merkel's phone, her cell phone, 3 years ago. The president allegedly allowed U.S. intelligence to listen to calls from the German chancellor's mobile phone after he was briefed on the operation by Keith Alexander, the director of National Security Agency, in 2010. It had been going on for years. It would have still been going on right till the day he left. The latest claim reported in Bild on Sonntag followed reports in Die Spiegel that the surveillance of Ms. Merkel's phone began as long ago as 2002, back when Bush was president, when she was still the opposition leader, 3 years before she was elected chancellor. And Obama actually, approved it to keep going on. So, and let's see here. Spying. This is the story about the spying. This is from the New York Times. This is spying on the Associated Press. The Obama administration, which has a chilling zeal for investigative leaks. This is what they were writing back this in 2013. On how they were trying to go after leakers, and they're prosecuting leakers, and they're going after reporters and everything, and ended up spying on 20 members of the Associated Press. And let's see what we got here. So the Obama administration, which has a chilling zeal for investigating leaks and prosecuting leakers, has failed to offer a credible justification for secretly combing through the phone records of reporters and editors of the Associated Press. And it wasn't just their phone records, okay? That's what they let out, but they were actually listening to phone calls. In what looked like a fishing expedition for sources in an effort to frighten off whistleblowers. On Friday, the Justice Department officials revealed they had been going through the AP's records for months. The dragnet covered work, home, and cell phone records used by almost 100 people 100 people actually, 20 reporters and 100 people total. 100 people at one of the oldest, most reputable news organizations. James Kohler, Deputy Attorney General, offered no further explanation on Tuesday, saying only that it was part of a criminal investigation involving highly classified material from early 2012. Attorney General Eric Holder said he could not comment on the details of the phone record seizure, which he said was an open investigation. So, all this talk, we wanted to bring Barr to the Hill, Pompeo to the Hill. This is an open investigation, and Holder says, well, I can't talk about it. It's an open investigation. No talk of impeachment, though. No talk of anything like that. Oh, this is an impeachable offense. Oh, it's a constitutional crisis. Freedom of the press, First Amendment. Nope, no talk like that back then. Nothing. Was Eric Holder dragged before Congress, held in contempt of court? Did they subpoena everything? No, of course not. So, let's see. Although he was happy to comment on the open investigation into in other words, here we go. So, Holder said he could not comment on the details of the phone records, which he said was an open investigation, although at the time he was happy to comment on the open investigation into the tax audits of conservative groups, which he said might have been criminal and were certainly outrageous and unacceptable. But both Mr. Holder and Mr. Cole declared their commitment and that of President Obama to press freedoms, by spying on them. Mr. Cole said the administration does not take lightly such secretive trolling through media records. Wow, there you go. But I guess that was okay. All right, let's see here. Here we go. Inquiry by CIA affirms it spied on Senate panel, July 31st, 2014. Dianne Feinstein was furious. She wanted heads to roll. She wanted Brennan fired. And did anybody get fired? No. Was there a big impeachment talk? No. Was there like a constitutional crisis? No. Did the media cover it? No. Probably a lot of people watching this probably don't even remember this story because it wasn't drilled into our heads every single day, hour after hour on CNN and MSNBC. It wasn't on Matthews and Hayes and Maddow back then. I can't remember who did their 6 o'clock time slides back then. But, they weren't drilling it into your head like Obama bad. See, the reason why they drill this story about Trump, every time he does something wrong or they think he does something wrong, they blow it up and they attack him and they just cover it wall to wall. They do that because it's propaganda. And what they're trying to do is to get it out of your short-term memory and into your long-term memory. So they keep hitting you with it over and over again. By doing that, then when you think of President Trump, somebody says President Trump, you go, ooh, bad person. You don't know why you're saying that. It's just that there's all this bad stuff inside of you. And it's like I was talking to the great dirtbag the other night, and somebody is back. Hey, yay, great dirtbag! I'll give you a clap. There you go. But yeah, I was talking to a great dirtbag the other night, and this one woman was talking about this whole thing with the phone call with the Ukrainian president, and she goes, "Oh, I'm in favor of impeachment now because enough's enough." Well, the whole point is there is no enough to begin with. There was nothing. The collusion story fell apart. The obstruction story has fallen apart. This story will probably end up falling apart the more we look into it, and we'll get to another story here in a second where the New York Times covered it. Albeit they think probably Schiff went to the New York Times to leak it because he knew the story was going to come out. But he wanted to go to a friendly newspaper to give him a friendly write-up. In fact, they even changed the headline from this morning. I bookmarked the headline from this morning, and then when I went to grab it, actually from my email, when I went to grab it again, it had a different headline, which made the whistleblower sound good and made Schiff sound good. And I'm like, oh, it's like, they didn't like have an additional article. They just replaced the prior title, which is funny. But anyway. Yeah, I subscribe to the New York Times also, so I can cover their stories as well. So anyway, inquiry by CIA affirms it spied on Senate panel. An internal investigation by the CIA has found that its officers penetrated a computer network used by the Senate Intelligence Committee. Again, just switches up to be Trump spying on Adam Schiff's House Select Committee on Intelligence. Imagine that. Imagine what people would be saying. They go through the roof. They go through the roof. Did anybody go through the roof in July 14? No. Again, most of you probably don't remember this story because it wasn't drilled into your head over and over and over again, all day long, all night long. So anyway, used by the Senate Intelligence Committee preparing its damning report on the CIA's detention and interrogation program. The report by the agency's Inspector General also found that CIA officers read the the private emails of the Senate investigators and sent a criminal referral to the Justice Department based on false information. And then the CIA even sent a referral to the Justice Department on the Senate investigators. And the information they sent up was false. One official with knowledge of the report's conclusion said the investigation also discovered that the officers created a false online identity to gain access on more than one occasion to computers used by the committee staff. Inspector General's account of how the CIA secretly monitored a congressional committee charged with supervising its activities touched off angry criticism. Oh, they were so angry. They were so angry. I didn't hear any calls for impeachment back in 2014 by the Democrats. Say, oh, Obama, you suck. We got to get rid of you. Were you spying on us? Nobody said that. Criticism from members of the Senate and amounted to vindication for Senator Feinstein of California, committee's Democratic chairwoman, who excoriated the CIA in March when the agency's monitoring of committee investigators became public. A statement issued Thursday morning by CIA spokesman said Brennan, the agency's director, had apologized to Ms. Feinstein. I'm sorry. Okay, nothing to see here. And would set up an internal accountability board to review the issue. There we go. Basically, so we're going to sweep it under the rug. The statement said that the board, which will be led by former Democratic Senator Evan Bayh of Indiana, could recommend potential disciplinary measures. How come these guys weren't fired on the spot? If that was Trump, how come you didn't fire him? You got to fire him right now. Say you're fired. No. So this commission is going to do a commission. They were going to study it, and then they could recommend even potential disciplinary measures and steps to address systemic issues. Yeah. But anger among lawmakers grew throughout the day, leaving a nearly 3-hour briefing about the report in a Senate conference room. Members of both parties called for the CIA officers to be held accountable, and some said they had lost confidence in Brennan's leadership. This is a serious situation. There are serious violations, said Chambliss, generally a staunch ally of the intelligence community. He called for the CIA employees to be dealt with very harshly. Ooh, that's even worse, harshly. Hey, there's Mr. Andrew Conkin. How you doing? Good seeing you down there in the chat. Senator Mark Udall, Democrat of Colorado, and another member of the Intelligence Committee, demanded Brennan's resignation. The CIA unconstitutionally spied on Congress by hacking into the Senate Intelligence Committee computers, he said in a written statement. This grave misconduct not only is illegal, but it violates the U.S. Constitution requirement of separation of powers. These offenses, along with other errors in judgment by some at CIA, demonstrate a tremendous failure of leadership, and there must be consequences. See, the thing is, though, there were no consequences in 2014. They got away with it. They did something wrong, got their hands slapped, and they said, okay, and they kept doing it. And Obama's like, well, yeah, keep doing it. So let's see where they get to. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go. President Obama, the White House publicly defended Mr. Brennan on Thursday, saying that Brennan had taken responsible steps to address the behavior of CIA employees, which he said included suggesting an investigation, accepting its results, and appointing an accountability board. No talk about termination, no talk about firing, and of course, no talk of. So the White House knew about it. The White House supported it. The White House backed up Brennan instead of saying, "Hey, yeah, right, it's separation of powers. It's illegal what they did," and then asked whether the results of the investigation presented a credibility issue for Mr. Brennan, at a minimum, a credibility issue. Josh Earnest, the White House press secretary, said, "Oh, not at all. Oh, he's fine. He can stay." Really, Obama was fine with that. Yeah, because Obama was using the intelligence services. He was playing ball with them. He let them do whatever they wanted as long as they gave him what he wanted, namely to spy on his opponents. And he was fine with that. Crediting Mr. And then Ernest went on to credit Mr. Brennan with playing an instrumental role in helping the U.S. government destroy Al Qaeda's leadership in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Mr. Ernest said he is somebody who has a very difficult job, who does that job extraordinarily well. You know, he works a lot of hours. You know, John Brennan. You know, you got to cut him some slack. You know, I mean, he has a very difficult job and he's doing the best he can. So nothing to see here again. And of course, the press didn't go outraged. The CNN, MSNBC didn't get all outrageous. Nobody did. That's why nobody remembers it. Feinstein called Brennan's apology and decision to set up an accountability board positive first steps. Oh, just look at the language from Feinstein. Oh, these are great positive first steps. And but others took a much harder line. Reed of Nevada said, "Hey man, this is appalling." Angus King said, "Spy agency's actions violate both the spirit and letter of the Constitutional. As he put it, how do we oversight it if we can't believe what is being represented to us in our committee?" No calls for impeachment of President Obama then. No, nothing to see here. Everything's just fine and dandy. Don't worry about that. You got nothing to see. All right, let's get to the next story. An AP did a fact check back in 2018. Obama doesn't always tell the straight story. Former President Obama's recent denunciation of President Donald Trump's treatment of the press overlooks the aggressive steps the Justice Department took to keep information from the public during his administration. Obama also made a problematic claim that Republican sabotage had cost 3 million people their health insurance. With his return to politics back in 2008, they're writing the story, with his return to political Donnybrook on behalf of the Democrats in November elections, Obama has brought a once familiar style back into the discourse. It's measured. It's nuanced. It's distinct from the torrent of misstatement from Trump. That doesn't mean Obama always tells the story straight. So in other words, people like him. He's just so friendly and nice. You know, that other guy, he's mean. You know, Trump, he's bad. He yells at the people. He yells at the press. He's terrible. So as long as you're nice and nuanced, you can go ahead and spy on foreign leaders. You can spy on American press reporters. You can spy on the U.S. Senate. You know, they're an intelligence agency. But he's so nuanced. Let's see what he said. It's measured, nuanced, and distinct from the torrents of misstatements from Trump. Oh, what a great guy! Just what a great guy. You know, you can spy on everybody, break the law, be unconstitutional, but no, he's a great guy. Oh boy, I tell you. And let's see here. And then some good news from my state. This is pretty positive. Let's see. Nevada court adds a jury option in minor domestic violence cases. See, a lot of states require that for a misdemeanor, especially one that's enhanceable, meaning that if you get a second one or a third one, you end up going to prison. It's a felony. And it's mandatory prison time, no probation. So, like in this state, like for domestic battery, domestic violence, it only came with a 6-month sentence. So the Supreme Court has ruled in the past that it wasn't a serious crime, so it didn't require a jury trial. You could try it in front of a judge, which I've done well. I've done very well actually trying cases in front of judges. But I do understand the concept that sometimes you don't want just one person judging you, especially when, in this case, the reason for the ruling, it was a 7-0 decision, by the way, by our Nevada Supreme Court, 7-0. They said, look, if you're going to take away somebody's Second Amendment rights, then they're entitled to a jury trial. And we just turned blue in 2017. Yay, whip, yippee, Nevada turned blue. Yay, I'm so happy. No, I'm not. Anyway, you got a Democrat-controlled Assembly, Democrat-controlled Senate, and the governor's a Democrat. That first time since I've been up here that I've seen that happen. And I've been up here for about going on 20 years now. So anyway, so they said if you're going to take away Second Amendment right, you have to give the person a jury trial, and that's excellent news. So the Nevada Supreme Court is from, again, the Las Vegas Review-Journal. The Nevada Supreme Court has ruled that people accused of misdemeanor domestic violence should have the right to a jury trial. Unanimous decision handed down Thursday, this last week, stemmed from the appeal of a man who had said he had been denied his right to a jury trial in Las Vegas Municipal Court. And his attorney said, I applaud the Nevada Supreme Court for unanimously doing the right thing. I think it's a huge decision. They spoke with one voice, and it's a good day for people who are charged with misdemeanor domestic violence. It forces the prosecutor to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt to a 12-person jury instead of one single sitting judge. And then the Attorney General, Aaron Ford, said in a statement that the ruling could result in a drastic change to the state's justice system. Well, no, it's not. Anyway. The ruling written by Linda Stiglitz, the seven-member court cited a state law enacted in 2017, again, 2017, we turned blue, yay, that requires those convicted of domestic violence to give up their firearms. Someone convicted of failing to comply with the new law, a felony faces up to 6 years in state prison. Yay, that's just wonderful. Actually, I apologize. 2017, we had a Republican governor, and I believe the Assembly, the Assembly and the Senate were Democrat, and we had a Republican governor. I apologize. But now we're all blue as of 2019. Okay, so basically, and then somebody who violated that would also be subject to a Category B felony, prohibited person in possession of a firearm, which is a Category B felony, 1 to 6 years in prison. The potential of losing Stiglitz writes, the potential of losing the constitutional right guaranteed in the Second Amendment commands the conclusion that misdemeanor domestic battery is a, quote, serious offense, Stiglitz wrote. Given that the legislature has indicated that the offense of a misdemeanor domestic battery is serious, it follows that one facing the charge is entitled to the right to a jury trial. And our municipal courtrooms in Las Vegas don't even have jury boxes. You know, they don't even have the ability to do them, so they have to do them in a different court. And previously, the Supreme Court had found that the penalty of up to 6 months imprisonment for it's actually not imprisonment, 6 months jail time for a domestic violence conviction does not make the offense serious enough for a jury trial. But once lawmakers added the condition regarding gun possession, namely, if you get convicted of domestic battery in my state, you cannot own or possess a firearm. I mean, it's pretty serious. The court reversed course, said longtime defense attorney John Watkins, who's actually an excellent attorney down in Las Vegas, who helped lay legal groundwork for Parentene's appeal. John went on to say, we know that a jury trial is going to give more protection than a judge trial. The prosecution has to convince more people than just the judge. When you're dealing with a constitutional right, you don't want that right taken away from someone without having a jury trial, where you have to convince the citizens that a conviction is in fact warranted. So Watkins called the legislative move packing below the line, or adding conditions other than imprisonment to criminal offenses, saying the court's decision was long overdue because finally the Nevada legislature stepped over the line and they packed the law with additional consequences to it, namely our right to keep and bear arms. So that was a piece of good news today. That was kind of nice. All right, let's take a look at this. And then regarding the Inspector General, I was on A.J. Goodman's site, and somebody brought this issue up, so I went and researched it. And this regarding the Inspector General for the CIA. And I had a problem with him initially, remember when we covered this, was that I said, like, he pretty much just, like, did a cut-and-paste job off of the complaint from the whistleblower that was written with the help of his attorneys and probably Adam Schiff as well. And, you know, the research as to why he fits into that statute of the whistleblower statute, when I showed clearly he does not fit into it, the president is not under the authority, it has to be responsibility and authority of the Director of National Intelligence, and he's not. So whistleblower and CIA is only supposed to be whistleblowing on, like, fellow members of the intelligence community. Anybody who falls underneath the responsibility and authority. They say that the president is Article 2 powers, he waives them and gives them up to a bureaucrat, is ridiculous. You can't do it. So it didn't happen. So he doesn't fit into the statute. So when I read the IG's letter to the Director of National Intelligence, trying to, torture the law to say this fits in within the whistleblower statute, which means he has to get protections, which means you have to transmit it to Congress within 7 days, which means nobody can reveal his identity, which means you cannot fire him, you can't retaliate. That's why they did it under the whistleblower. And it appears that Schiff's office advised this CIA agent to actually say he's a whistleblower and fit it within there. I'm not sure what came first, the chicken or the egg, but it sounds like they were giving him that kind of advice. And anyway, so the Inspector General's resume, he was actually involved with the FISA court applications, it appears. And I say appear because we don't know for sure because those are all confidential. But he was head of the National Security Division. He was senior counsel to John Carlin, who was head of the National Security Division, who had his hands all over the place on those FISA court warrant applications. So they're saying, well, gee, maybe this guy is part of the deep state problem himself. Let's see. Anyway, this was breaking news from this morning. Whistleblower gave an early account of his Ukraine complaint to the House aide, who outlined it to the congressman now leading the inquiry. Again, now the funny thing about that is if you go to do a search, this was a story that got sent to my email this afternoon, October 2nd. And then when I went back to pull the story that wasn't on my email, they changed the title, and let me show you what that is. Let me punch it up here real quick. All right, hold on. Let me just do this real fast here. All right, let me just put myself here so you see me going through all this research. Hey, everybody. How you guys doing? Hey. All right, let's see here. Now, this is the title here that came out later after the New York Times caught a lot of shit because when they published this story, they're like, oh, you're helping Trump. What are you doing that for? Why are you saying that Schiff had this ahead of time? Now it makes Schiff look really shifty. The president even seized on it. So here's the headline from later in the day after the New York Times caught a bunch of shit. And as they add in there, Schiff got early account of accusations as whistleblowers' concerns grew. So now we're saying like Schiff is honorable for doing this because the whistleblowers' concerns were growing. And let me show you back to the headline here. Let's see. Actually, I apologize. Let me just cut across here real quick. Okay, there's the new headline. Schiff got an early account of accusations as whistleblower concerns grew. And let me show you the headline from this morning. It doesn't mention anything about whistleblowers' concerns growing, or anything like that. So let me get back over to that real quick. Okay, let me jump over here. All right, so here's the headline, and I'll pull myself out of here real quick. Let's see, maybe just move it up. Let's see, I'll just read it. The whistleblower gave an early account of his Ukraine complaint to a House aide who outlined it to the congressman now leading the inquiry. And okay, this is this morning's headline. Then after the New York Times caught a bunch of crap saying they're making Adam Schiff look bad, like he lied because he actually lied. I believe, in an interview where he said no, neither he nor his office had ever talked to the whistleblower before filing the complaint, before he saw the complaint. It was a complete lie, obviously. So here's the article from phone call. Hey, great dirtbag, how you doing?
Hey, Carl, how you doing? I'm sorry I'm not able to appear in a video VMix call tonight, but I'll gladly call in. Did I call it about time?
Not at all. In fact, let me just jump back over here. There we go. Yay, cool. There you are. You're good. You're good to go, man.
Cool, awesome. I tell you what, Carl, they have nothing on Trump. That, the whole goal is to run this narrative that he's a criminal, that he escaped impeachment, and they're going to run that into the ground to get these imbeciles who support these progressive Democrats to get them to get out in droves, because things, I've seen things where they say Trump is predicted. Again, we cannot take that for granted, but Trump is predicted to win in a landslide in 2020. And
first of all, I don't know who's predicting he's going to win by a landslide. I don't know why anybody's predicting that. That sounds really stupid. I mean, why would you predict that now? I mean, how could you even say that's going to happen?
Well,
I mean, that's a year from now. I mean, that's crazy.
No, I know. But I think where people are kind of getting the numbers is based on the way these Democrats are behaving. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get what you're saying. I do. But, hold on, I'm sorry. Oh, boy. Sorry about that. I get that. I mean, there's no way we can know. But the reason why I think that gets talked about a lot is because they know that, he's growing in numbers. His poll numbers are high despite what mainstream media says. I don't think there's an accurate numbers to where where his approval rating's at, but we know it's pretty high. I think they see the things, how people are interacting with Trump. They see how people are, people are starting to wake up a little bit. Again, the question has always been, how many people are waking up. But when you have people that, because remember, this all started back in 2016. James Comey investigated Trump, found nothing. We know that Mueller was not going to find anything from the get-go. His tactic was to stall, hoping the Democrats could take both House and Senate. Because if he had both House and Senate, he would have had more success at pinning this false crime on Trump. Because he would have had, the Democrats would have had a majority in both House and Senate. They would have been able to move forward with even treason.
Well, if they had both houses, I mean, that'd be a nightmare on Elm Street. It's bad enough with one house, but if they had a second set of committees headed by Democrats right now, I mean, it would be hearing city that these guys have to be bounced back and forth between the House and the Senate, and each committee on the Senate would be requiring them to testify and then back it to the House and everything else. That would be terrible. Not to mention if they had the Senate, the Senate majority leaders in charge of deciding what evidence to bring in and stuff like that, how to conduct the trial. So McConnell's going to really low key this impeachment trial. With trying to get a conviction, he's going to really lowball it, just like Trent Lott did back again when Clinton was getting impeached. But that was a Democrat like Chuck Schumer. Man, he'd be going hot and heavy all over him. I mean, they'd be bringing witnesses in. This trial would last for like 3 months. He would just stretch it out for like 3 months, right through the election, just to put a real to get all the headlines in the news and everything like that, just to try to kill any chance Trump had to get reelected. I mean, that's what the House is doing right now. They're trying to pretty much just trying to keep the story in the news for the next year, so it'll suppress Trump supporters and also turn off independents from even thinking about voting for President Trump. That's awful.
And that's I know, and that's the thing that we have to worry about too, because we got to win the independent vote, But the reason why I was saying about the landslide is because even the Democrats, they run these numbers and they figure they're not going to be able to impeach him. The impeachment's going to go nowhere, no matter how many ways they try to slice it. I mean, they can. Stormy Daniels failed, all these other, things that they've tried to get him on, there's nothing, and even if he wins re-election, I guarantee you they're going to try and tie him up in the Supreme Court. They're going to use every trick in the book to, try and overturn the votes and try and overturn the electorates. All of a sudden, a magical bus of votes were uncounted for, like they had in Florida. We just had a ton of votes show up out of nowhere. I mean, we know that that's going to happen. We know that you know, they're going to try and, you know, like, what do they do? Is like, you know, like you hear those stories about how they have people in the back, you know, writing ballots and, you know, filling in fake ballots and,
Well, no, like you saw,
you know,
like you saw in Florida where they found those ballot boxes at that one rental car place by the airport because somebody left them in the trunk of the car, and they were cleaning the car out.
yeah,
The rental car agent was cleaning the car, and there was like 4 boxes of ballots in there. I mean,
yeah,
Christ, what a joke! I mean, they were going to arrest Matt Gaetz because
yeah,
Matt Gaetz was trying to take pictures of it. He goes, "Oh, you can't take pictures." He goes, "You know, I am. I'm a congressman from this district. What do you mean I can't take pictures?
yeah,
I know who you are, sir. If you
yeah,
take any more pictures, I'm going to arrest you." It's like I'm just
yeah,
filming what's going on. You know, so I
yeah.
can show everybody what the hell's going on out here. You know, they had all these people in the parking lot and shit, and it's terrible.
Well, you know what I, you know, this is just, you know, my take on it, but you know, the fact that armed security guards who are ordinary everyday citizens have the authority. Who gives them the authority to keep an elected official out of an area, you know, like that they have clearance to check out? You know what I'm saying? And where this power and authority comes from is from the globalist elite. You know, it's see, like right now, Trump getting into office has power is divided between the globalist elites and Trump. You know, the reason why I say it like that is because of all the. I mean, the corruption goes so deep. Like right now, for example, and I'll give an example. Right, if the only way that they could ever arrest Comey, Obama, and them is if Trump could get almost like 2/3 control over the CIA. In other words, they got to have people who are not corrupt, not bought off. They got to have those people on the high levels that are not bought off by the globalists and their allies and their, you know, sock puppet political puppets. You know,
Right.
trying to be creative there, but you
No,
know,
I know what you
that
mean.
would be the only way. You know, but you know, and then you got to get at least 2/3 control of the FBI, 2/3 of just the Department of Justice itself. You know, and
Right.
hopefully William Barr cleans house. I'm hoping William Barr gets all these
Well, yeah,
Obama appointed. You know,
I'm hoping that, you know, 'cause the whole point of this was try to intimidate, you know, William Barr and John Durham from doing their investigation because they were probably getting close to something. This guy,
yeah,
this professional spy. I mean, he's not a he's not just some guy that's hanging out and he goes, "Oh, I saw something bad." Now, he was sent there to spy on President Trump. He wasn't acting in good faith. He was sent there to spy. He gained a lot of people's confidence. The way he wrote the report was real arrogant. I mean, it was just you could just read it like it just you feel like the animosity towards the president. Like he wasn't saying, "Hey, I saw this
yeah,
and it looked bad." He was like, you know, him and his attorneys got together, put together a legal brief for Adam Schiff. For all I know, again, Adam Schiff may have something to do with the writing of it. And then they try to torture themselves. Even the whistleblower knew, his attorneys knew, he didn't fit into it. So again, they try to torture the argument with the law. And it's all saying like thou protest is too much. Like when you read a brief like that from somebody, you can feel the desperation. They're trying to convince somebody that okay, we fit into this law, we should get remedy, we should get relief based on the law. And you can tell when you read that brief from the Inspector General, that the letter, which was basically a brief to the Director of National Intelligence. I mean, he was struggling. You can tell he was just trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. And the Inspector General, who's not an attorney, he goes, "Oh, they were acting in good faith." You can tell he's a real naive guy. He hasn't been like in bureaucracies like that before. And he said, "Oh, they were acting in good faith." No, they weren't. Neither the IG was acting in good faith. This Atkinson guy, nor was obviously nor was the whistleblower, nor were his attorneys, who were all like never Trumper attorneys.
oh yeah. I mean, even Mueller had never Trump. You know, all those never Trumpers in his. You know, they were.
Yeah,
And I guarantee you, they were handpicked by his. They were handpicked by his handlers, his globalist handlers. I know I always talk about the globalists, but their hand is in everything. And the other thing too, and this is something I wish people would get through their heads. These and this ties into what I'm going to say too. Everybody's like talking about, well, Bernie Sanders is done, yay, yay. Okay, first off, let's not be cruel, okay? We don't like Bernie Sanders' policies. I get it, and I get it. People don't, but
right.
he has a family. he has a family, and wishing bad upon somebody's not something that's in poor taste.
Well, no, that's totally important. That's
But
totally in poor taste. I
oh
totally
yeah,
agree. That's totally in
yeah,
poor taste. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, if you disagree with the guy, which we do, that's fine, and make the better argument,
mm-hmm,
and then you should win. But you don't want somebody to get hurt and die. Yeah, he was down here in Las Vegas, about an hour away from my house, and he was taken over to a really good hospital too that deals with stroke victims and heart attacks and stuff like that
mm-hmm,
really well. So yeah,
yeah,
I mean, he's just
yeah,
literally down the street, from where I live,
yeah.
and yeah, nobody should wish him ill will or anything like
Yeah.
that. I mean, that's not right.
Mhm. But these people that that are happy about what happened to Bernie and all this, they need to understand that. Guess what? Somebody else is going to take its place. Because again, it's like if you watch what they're doing, the progressives, the DNC, the globalists want to put progressives on every level, right? Because I made a post a while back on my wall in Parlor, and I think I mentioned this a couple of times, but it all ties together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they're trying, there was a Democrat, I forget his name, but he was in a very heavy conservative area, but I think they can only elect certain Democrat, or I think it's only, well, it was a moderate Democrat, right? And he's voted with Trump more than his own party, right, on certain things. Well, he's doing his job. He was sent there to represent his constituents.
Right.
Now, what this woman was trying to do, who they're describing as the next AOC, the DNC, because they're fighting a war on two fronts. They need to get those conservative Republicans out of office in districts that they hold, and they need to get the moderates out of there that the moderates hold. That's what they're doing. See, this is one of the reasons why I always tell people, and the conservatives, look, why are they purging moderate Democrats? Again, they don't want those moderate Democrats in there because moderate Democrats are not always going to go along with what the progressives want. They want people who are going to vote 100% of the time, not 70, not 80, 100% of the time.
Right.
But anyway, I posted this on my wall, and only a few people seem to understand what I was even talking about. One guy was like, I mean, come on, people, you're supposed to be, this is a conservative Twitter, and you guys are supposed to know what's going on, but you can't read what I post. I mean,
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
No, it is. But it's like it's even one thing when I make posts on Parler, most people get it, some people get it, but it's almost like these people who claim to be conservative, they just don't comprehend, or they don't want to comprehend. They're like, well, we got to keep all Republicans in office, and okay, I get that, okay, but you got to research who you vote for. And we certainly don't need any more rhinos in office. However, if there is a rhino that is running in your district, that is the better choice. If you're in an area that only Democrats run, you've got to vote for the most moderate Democrat. That's the only way we're gonna keep the status quo. I mean, because you got to remember, there was another post that I posted too, right? And again, I'll tie this all together. It was about how people can,
Well,
push
no.
back
Well, no.
narrative,
I
right?
mean, no.
Hmm?
If I had a choice between a rhino Republican and a moderate Democrat, I'd vote for the rhino
Hmm?
Republican, just so I have an R next to his name,
Yeah.
and then when they do the counting for the majority in the Senate or
Hmm?
majority in the House, then if you get one
Hmm?
over, then you get to have the committee assignments, and then you don't have Adam Schiff holding hearings, because then the committee chairman gets to decide what hearings get held, what witnesses get subpoenaed, all that stuff. So
Hmm?
if that was Collins
Hmm?
over there instead of I think it's Collins instead of Schiff, you'd have a much different
Hmm?
situation going on in the House right now. You wouldn't have all these stupid hearings and people and the Attorney General being subpoenaed and all this other
Hmm?
crap. It wouldn't happen.
Hmm?
So
Yeah.
if I had a choice between a rhino Republican and a moderate Democrat, I'd definitely take the rhino Republican just for the
Oh
numbers,
yeah. Yeah.
just for the numbers.
Yeah. Same here. But like areas where, because there's areas where only Democrats, like they don't really. It's like in parts of California, they only Democrats are voted for,
Right.
And most of those people that live in those areas, say they're conservative, what they got to do is, I mean, if there's no Republican in the ballot, they got to vote that moderate rather than the progressive.
Well, yeah, no,
I mean,
right,
just in those
right.
situations.
In California, the way they do it is the two top candidates run against each other, regardless of party affiliation. So yeah, a lot of times Republicans aren't even in the general election because they didn't get at least they didn't come in second place. So yeah, then you're stuck
Yeah.
with voting right the moderate versus the leftist. So then yeah, you got to pull the trigger for the leftist. You got to make that call and vote for the leftist.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, for the moderate. For
I,
the moderate.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see. They're going because the globalists know that their new world order is in jeopardy. They know this, and that's why they got to go full steam ahead. I was going to say because that's why they got to get rid of the NRA. They got to get rid of these pro Second Amendment groups. They got to get rid of they'd love to get rid of Judicial Watch, I'm sure, although I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
how
no,
you.
yeah. Well, no, you can't get rid of them. I guess you can pass a law. I mean, New
No.
York, yeah, New York, they just passed a law. If you say, illegal alien, then you get fined
Yeah, I heard about
$250,000.
that.
Yeah, it has to be like
Hmm.
derogatory. Like you can't just be having a conversation and discussing illegal aliens and you get the fine. Is that if you walk up to somebody, you're gonna fight, you say, "Oh, you're just an illegal alien," then they'll fine you, which is still crazy. The idea that you catch a
Yeah.
$250,000 fine with no assault, no battery, no anything, just for saying the words is really insane. I tell you what, though, while I got you on the phone, we'll take a look at this story. You're going to see you'll see it on the
Okay.
delay, unfortunately, because you're on the
Hmm.
telephone. You're not on a video call. But
Yeah.
I'll read it out loud, obviously. All right, so this is
Okay.
from
Sure.
this is from the New York Times. Whistleblower gave an early account of his Ukraine complaint to a House aide, who outlined it to the congressman who now leading the inquiry. Democratic head of the House Intelligence Committee, Representative Adam Schiff of California. Oh, let me get this. There we go. Up. They changed it. Here we go.
New York Times.
Oh
Oh wow.
wow, yeah, they did change it. When I went to hit read more, they changed the whole thing.
Carl, I'm going to
Oh
say,
wow, that's
like
crazy.
everybody listening, what's funny, and this is even for the cheap seats that are listening. How quickly the New York Times retracted. Well, I don't know if it was they changed their story, but their retraction, right? How quickly they did it, and the fact that you don't get notifications on YouTube even when your channels upload. I don't even get them anymore. This should show you how powerful and how what these globalists are capable of. At the snap of a finger. If they ever get a foothold in of power again in the majority, if they ever get a majority in the foot power again, if they ever get the foot in the majority of having power again, we are done. And that's
Yeah.
when who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, Solix asked earlier if Schiff's staff had contact with him prior to filing the whistleblower complaint. The answer is yes, even on this redacted news story from the New York Times. See, what happened was he had a colleague talk to the CIA lawyers about what he heard. He didn't file a whistleblower complaint yet. So then he meets with Schiff's staff, and they say, "Oh, file a whistleblower complaint. That way you'll be anonymous and everything else, and it'll go through. And then we'll have to get it by law." So they advised him to file a whistleblower complaint when they knew damn well that what he was telling them didn't fit into the whistleblower statute. They said, "Cause then they have to send it to us." That's why Schiff kept yelling in August about, "Where's my whistleblower complaint?" And they're like, "Well, how do you know about that?
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from? How did you know
Mm-hmm.
about that?" Well, he knew about it, and then he lied when he said his office never met with the guy. He put the idea in the guy's head to file a whistleblower complaint and go hire some attorneys. Probably gave him the name of the attorneys to go hire as well, which I'm sure we'll never find out
Yeah.
unless they get a good cross examination. Supposedly, the guy was supposed to be testifying tomorrow. Did you hear anything about that? If that actually was
Mm-hmm.
going to happen?
No, actually, I haven't really seen much news because I was kind of helping Joe and everybody, disabled vets and Tony Patriot. I was kind of helping them with Operation Border Command.
Oh,
I've been doing that most of my day. I'm sorry.
yeah. I know it's okay. I saw
But
parts of that.
no, but
Let me see if I can find out if he's supposed to be testifying tomorrow. Let's see.
okay.
Yeah, I'll look it up real quick here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I haven't had time to, and I didn't know you were going live. It's funny because Renee Thomas, I've been calling into her show sometimes. And you know what, Carl? I'm trying to get her to come over to your site. Because I've been mentioning you a couple of times when I call into her show. I'm trying to get her to come over because she's a great patriot. She's doing really really well with her channel. I just hope she can get over I hope she can get over 1,000 members to her channel so she can continue to live stream, because we all know how they love to change the rules. But again, hey,
yeah.
I'm not knocking it. Hmm?
No,
I'm
it looked
not
like
knocking it.
it looked like 3 days ago. It looked like 3 days ago they said he was going to be testifying tomorrow, but I don't see any news
Mm-hmm.
stories on it if that's going to go forward tomorrow or not. Let's see.
Yeah,
Everything's
I'm
like
not
from
sure. I can
yeah.
take a look.
No, I'm looking. I'm
I'll go on
looking
my
right
laptop real
now.
quick.
I'm looking right now.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot. Not showing where. Let me see. Maybe they had it in this story. Let me see. Maybe they said he's going to testify. Let me check it real quick.
So I'm taking a look.
See, warnings. Wednesday, Trump said Schiff should be forced to resign. We don't call him Shifty Schiff for nothing, Trump said. Let's see. Nope, they're not saying if he's going to. Let's see.
This is NBC. Former Ukraine boy Volker to testify in impeachment inquiry on Thursday.
Les Volker, yeah.
I don't know. Voice of America. Wow, huh? I guess no. Voice of America is left leaning, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, you know what, Carl? There was a couple of things I was going to mention, but not now. But before the show ends, I'll mention.
Okay.
You see, Trump. Okay, the Independent UK, but that agreed to test Trump administration. Oh, this was 2 days ago.
Yeah, they're not saying he's going to. But they're not. I'm not seeing it in here. They're going to say he's going to testify tomorrow or not. So yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, it doesn't say. Carl, I foresee a couple of things with all of this. I mean, just where all of this is going, right? Let's say, I mean, there's two things with the globalists, they're not going to be touched one way or the other, but here's a couple of things to consider. Just my take on this, right?
Yeah.
Either the globalists, like, let's say if Trump can build a case to arrest Hillary and Obama and the whole cabal, right? It's unlikely, but the possibility's there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that happens. The globalists will either run interference, find ways to, get them out of the country, or, because let's face it, the globalists have allies in other countries. We know this, the EU, or they can just let them go, and then quietly, because like what they're doing right now, because like I've always said, they're ditching the old establishment for the new. They've already got key players, in Congress. They're getting key players in the Justice Departments and all the branches of government. They're getting fresh faces, right? So I think the more likely scenario is they just let everybody go, right? Let them go without a struggle, and then they just work from the grassroots up and build their plan again and try and implement it in a more fast track, sort of way. You know what I'm saying? Because the whole goal, like, let's say if they can't beat Trump in 2020, okay, well, the globalists are going to have 2024 to run it, because there is going to be somebody, hopefully, that can succeed Trump, that we would have on our side, right? But then
you would hope so.
The globalists are going to have a kid. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we still got to, yeah. But, go ahead.
No, I mean, you would hope we'd have somebody in 2024 that can win, yeah.
Yeah. But see, this is where we have to be careful, because some people are going to think that, well, it's all done and the cabal is ancient history. No, these globalists are already regrouping. Okay, they are regrouping with these progressive candidates that they're backing, that they're trying to get elected into local and state level positions. They are also, I'll bet you even right now as we speak, they're working on getting fresh new faces that they can buy off in the Department of Justice and all levels of government.
We know this. Definitely, yeah.
I mean, this is one of the things that I made this other post too that's been getting some attention. like how people can fight back against this, right?
Right.
And this also brings me to another point. People support groups that push back. Okay, we need to, like me. I'm part of a group that we get the message out. Somebody gets something. Tony Patriot's awesome about that. Joe is awesome about that. That's how I was able to. You as well, Carl. Though I'm not leaving you out of the equation.
That's fine. Yeah.
With Roll Exit. Yeah. Roll Exit. I had people that I knew that could help get the word out.
Right.
And I myself had made a post on Parler. But see, this is what people need to do in order to push back. We need to start supporting companies who donate to conservative causes. Companies that aren't going to push, give their money away to liberal causes that are going to destroy our country. We got enough of that already.
Yeah. Well, Charlie Charlie was covering this morning that Soros got kicked out of another country. What country was it? It was
6 countries so far.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember what the latest one was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he talked about Hungary.
Mm-hmm.
The Philippines. He got kicked out of the Philippines. They just instituted a death penalty. Yeah, the president said they just instituted a death penalty, and if he stepped one foot and if Soros stepped one foot in his country, he would see to it personally that he found his way to hell, and that he would get him the death penalty and find his way to hell. Because he was really pissed off how he manipulated the Southeastern Asian currency valuations for the various countries and really killed the economy down there. They said.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem. Every time they kick Soros out, they can never see his assets within that country. Like if he's got a bank, see, that's why he doesn't keep any money in these banks in these countries where he's at. Because if he did, they could seize his assets. And see, again, Soros ain't stupid. And the fact that he gets kicked out of countries, it's good for them, but it's bad for us because then he diverts more resources into trying to overthrow our constitutional republic. And that's,
right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Any news of Soros losing is great, but, we have to be on our A game from now until beyond the retirement, because this battle is not going to, this fight is going to last a long time. That's why we cannot back down. It's like when I was watching. I sent out what I've been doing with Operation Border Command is I've been going into the various channels. Like Joe's channel had like 50-some subs, and I was throwing out super chats, right?
Right.
And I was trying to drum up support, for the people to donate. Because this is a big thing that Joe and Douglas Ducote and all them are doing. If they can get this project off the ground. I don't know if they're going to go as the direction of a news source. I'm not sure. I can't speak on any of those details. I only know what I've seen in Joe's channel. But if they can do this, it would be huge for them. But the problem too is that they need to understand that left-wing groups are going to try and shut them down. The left. I don't know.
I think they're expecting that. I mean, I don't think they're naive.
Yeah.
I think they're expecting to try to get shut down.
Yeah, but I think they've got some backing though. I mean, Joe's a pretty smart guy. Joe knows what he's doing. I wouldn't have backed. I wouldn't have backed Joe like I did if I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Because I like the stuff, and that's why I helped him like I did. But and not just me, but everybody. Everybody's helped Joe. I'm just one person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
But I threw out a $20 super chat, basically saying, come on, people, we need to send these globalists a strong message, that they aren't just going to be able to do what they want with our country. Send a message to the elite and their favorite sock puppets in Congress. And it came to me at the last minute. I just had to throw it in there, and just $2 chats, $5 chats, trying to help, get people to interact, and that's what I was doing in Tony's, but only Joe seemed to have like the highest viewership, people are just going in and out of his chats. But anyway, what they were talking about was, there's one called Patriot Mobile, I think. And, I guess they're new. I never heard of them. I never looked into them, but, I guess they're starting off, and I think this is something you're going to start seeing is conservative companies like Black Rifle Coffee, Let me see. Virtual Shield, I think, is another one. These conservative companies are going to start springing up out of the woodwork. And I think once they, because there's conservative companies right now, that are coming under, there's big conservative companies out there, but I don't know how active they are with things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I just hope that this trend in companies that are becoming conservative just rise. I mean, look at Wendy's. Wendy's is promoting adoptions. That's fantastic. But I think Dave Thomas has always been a conservative, if I understand. And I think his daughter is a conservative as well.
Wait, Danny Thomas is a conservative?
No, Dave Thomas.
Oh, Dave Thomas.
No, Dave Thomas.
Dave Thomas, the owner of Wendy's. Okay.
Yeah, no, the former, Dave Thomas.
Okay.
And I always thought his daughter was. I mean, I could be wrong. It's been a long time since you ever hear anything about them. But it's good because it's like Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is a conservative company, and I think even though they got great food, they're expensive. But I think people like that about Chick-fil-A. That's why they have people. That's why they have people eat there. It's like these. Have you ever heard the stories of these companies? Like there was one in California that, oh my God, the left found out that they donated to Republicans, and liberals had a meltdown, and the cheap seats had a meltdown and cried.
Oh, In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah. And their business was booming.
Well, no. Okay. Well, first of all, let me. Okay, you're not from California. Okay, I've lived in California, and I live here in Nevada. We have In-N-Out Burger. There's no way anybody's going to be able to boycott In-N-Out Burger. Everybody loves In-N-Out Burger. Everybody eats at In-N-Out Burger. People will fly on a plane. Mm-hmm. People used to fly on a plane before they built one in Phoenix, fly on a plane to Ontario Airport to go to In-N-Out Burger. So the idea in California that any kind of boycott would have been successful against In-N-Out Burger was a joke. I mean, all of us who knew it, we all laughed. I don't care. You're the biggest leftist in the world. You want your In-N-Out Burger? You're going to go to In-N-Out Burger and go get yourself In-N-Out Burger.
Oh man, you got me wanting to go to.
You'll probably never will unless you go west of the Mississippi, because there's no plan to even build one east of the Mississippi, because they don't use freezers. Nothing is frozen. Everything's fresh. Mm-hmm. So they're limited on their distance for distribution. And they're super high quality control. They closed down all their Texas franchises for 2 days because they went down and checked out the bread. They didn't like the rolls. They shut down all the stores for 2 days.
Oh, wow.
They are super quality controlled. Mm-hmm. When you go into their store, it's clean. It's always clean. It's spotless. And before you can even get on the grill to be working the burgers, I think you have to work there for like a year or two. And there are people that are like there are managers that make these In-N-Out Burger franchises. There are managers that make like $200,000 a year. The place is always packed.
Oh, wow.
No, it's always packed. There's always a line. There's always a line. And they have a very limited menu. They have a hamburger, cheeseburger, a double cheeseburger, French fries, one size, and sodas. And they added coffee recently, and they have milkshakes, and that's about it. And but everybody, so when they try to shut them down, everybody just laughed. We were like, that's not going to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because boycotts. I mean, this is something both left and the right are. It boggles my mind because the right will boycott doesn't work. The left boycott, it doesn't work. I mean, to me, boycotts are pointless. And they really don't send the right message. They don't, I mean, I've never, like all those people in Ontario, Canada that were laying down, people of the, the LGBT community and movement, they're going, they're blocking Chick-fil-A from opening. Chick-fil-A has never, ever said anything about LGBT. Not to my knowledge, they have.
Right.
That have said anything negative about LGBT.
No, I've never heard of. No.
A lot of, yeah. I mean, okay.
No, I just said no. I never heard him say anything derogatory about anybody. Actually.
Yeah. That was something somebody said. Like, oh, they don't like people of LGBT. That was something somebody said, and again, the left, they love to take things out of context without any proof, without any verification. They just go out there and they just, you know, you know, do their thing. You know, they just protest and they cry and they throw a tantrum. You know, and I mean, you know, it's they got to get over themselves. You know,
I agree.
They gotta knock this. I mean, you know, even the right has to knock out. You know, it's like the NFL boycott. You know how many Trump supporters went to an NFL game and were watching football? You know, I mean, half of the people don't. I mean, yeah, they're disrespecting the flag. I get it, but most people want to watch their football. You know, they want their distraction from their normal everyday work.
I don't disagree with a boycott. What I disagree with is people who go after their advertisers. That's what I disagree with. If you don't want if you don't want to buy the products of the advertiser, but they go after the advertiser and do and say if you don't stop advertising on, like, say, Tucker Carlson show, we're gonna light you up, you know, that kind of shit. That I have a problem with. Yeah, I got a huge problem with that.
Yeah. No, that's not good, because then they start doxing people, and then they, you know, like how they doxed all these businesses that were donating to Trump. I mean, you know, that's not cool. You know, that's not, you know, there was a story a while back when that whole mess of Ferguson was going on.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you read it about it or not, but there was actually a white business owner in an African American neighborhood, and there were people that this guy had employed over so many years of time. You know, just giving them jobs when they needed it. You know, and they actually. To us. You're not going to come. I'm just going to find the story.
No, we froze up. We froze up for a second. We froze up for a second.
Oh.
It's okay. We're back.
Oh, wow. Are we still on?
Yeah, no, we're on now. Let me see. Yep, we're on. Yeah, wave to the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So we're good.
I don't know if I can find the story. I'm going to see if I can find it. But, you know, it was a white business owner who had just, you know, he just employed, people over the years, right? And, you know, he had, you know, they had, I don't know if I can find this. This was like years ago. A lot of those articles were buried probably in the good old thing called Google algorithms. But let me see if I'm going to try. But my knowledge of the story was, you know, they had, he had, you know, he just, you know, gave them jobs, gave them, you know, paid them for the work that they had done, you know. And, you know, again, they were defending his business. You know, they're telling people, look, you're not coming in here to tear this up. Because they were standing guard with, I guess they had guns on them. At least that's my knowledge of what the article had said. But, you know, you won't ever hear stories like that. You know, you're not going to hear stories like that because it doesn't fit the narrative of what they want, you know, what they're pushing, you know. And the other things were like, but anyway, just going back to the Trump supporters, you know, but see, you know, I don't know if that guy was ever doxed or not back in 2014. I don't think doxing became big until like maybe Trump got elected. That's when doxing got.
Right. Then everybody started doxing. Right. Everybody started doxing conservatives and stuff. Yeah.
But you know, but the whole thing with Trump and how the way that, you know, just the way that just the entire craziness just doesn't it people are tired of it. People are getting fed up to the point where, let's say, I don't know if you saw that video the Patriot did, but I mean, and it was a pretty likely scenario. Let's say, again, we cannot take it for granted, and I don't want to, you know, say, but let's say Trump wins re-election. Let's look at, and I know we talked about this last time, but let's look at what could potentially happen, right? You know, even in red district, you know, we're going to have people going out blocking traffic. You know, we're going to form a human chain. We're going to.
Oh, no, it's going to be like 2017 all over again. 2016, 2017 all over again. Yeah, it'll be just as bad, if not worse. Well, no, I mean, look, you know, they're trying to provoke a response. Okay, so you got two choices. You can give them the response or not give them the response. And the trick with that is you just let law enforcement handle the situation, and hopefully you live in a town where law enforcement is going to react and take care of it. I happen to live in a town that law enforcement would take care of it. Even down in Vegas, no matter Vegas is a very blue county, but they they protect their tourism industry. They protect the casinos. They're not gonna let riots and shit happen on the strip or anywhere near it. It just ain't gonna happen. I don't care. The DA he's a liberal. The mayor's a liberal. The governor's a liberal. Okay, but trust me, I don't know who runs Metro right now, but I'm sure he got assigned or whatever. I don't know what he is, but trust me, that's one thing they don't let happen down there. Is anything happen to those casinos or the strip or anything? So we don't get those kind of riots down there because it just ain't going to happen. Okay, there's too much money involved. Vegas is a tourism city, period. Okay, everything else is tertiary to that. Every other industry is tertiary to those casinos. So nobody's going to screw with that. They're not going to want any big headlines in the national news showing Vegas like on fire or big riots or people couldn't get down the strip to get to the casino to gamble. Trust me, that story's not going to get told out here. It's not going to happen. They come in with the horses and they come in fast. They come in fast with those horses. I mean, big horses too.
The thing too, and it's possible. It's entirely possible because I don't because I hope not, but I know people are getting tired of this Antifa and what if you start seeing some of these like bikers for Trump come out? You know what I'm saying? Like they did back in there, when Trump went to Arizona.
Look. Okay, you can't have street brawls. Okay, that's not the country we live in. If you want to see street brawls, go to Guatemala, go to Honduras. I don't know, go to the Congo, go there. But I mean, no, we're not going to go tit for tat. You just got to look. Everything works in this country eventually. It just takes time for it to work. So, I mean, has Antifa overplayed their hand? Yeah. Are people getting tired of them? Yeah. Okay, it's just a natural progression of things. They're a big flash in the pan. They get all the noise, they get all the attention, and then eventually the public grows. Who are these people? Like, we're tired of this shit. And then when the general public reacts like that, then all the local officials, elected officials, start reacting as well. And they realize, hey, people even on my side of the aisle don't like this. They don't like the violence. It's hurting tourism. The business leaders come to the mayor and say, "Hey, look, man, I don't know about your chance of getting reelected because we're backing whoever else is running against you. We don't care who it is, as long as they bring some law and order, like in Portland or Seattle. We can get some law and order down here, or we're going to throw all our money and all our weight behind whoever's running against you, and we don't even care who he is. We're just going to say whoever's running against you, that's who we're backing. So that's when things start moving. It takes a few minutes for us to react because we're generally not very. We have high impulse control. Okay, generally conservatives and Republicans. We don't just knee jerk react to shit. Okay, that's the left. The left knee jerk reacts. So in the long run, I'm not worried about it because in the long run, I know that it's going to get taken care of. They're overplaying their hand. Let's put it that way. And anytime you overplay your hand, there's always pushback. It takes a while for the pushback, but there always is.
Yeah. Sheldon Adelson has a lot of influence out there, doesn't he, in the state of Nevada? And I know he's a Trump supporter.
Well, yeah, he's pretty old. I mean, as far as, again, the casinos have the most influence. He's a casino owner. He owns the Las Vegas Review-Journal, the story I just put up from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. So, yeah, he has a lot of influence out here. He has a lot of money, and he owns the state's largest newspaper. So it's kind of like Jeff Bezos. I mean, he's not like Jeff Bezos with the Washington Post. I mean, he lets those guys just do the news. But, it's his newspaper at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, I think he's a conservative, isn't he? At least a little bit of a conservative.
He's definitely a conservative, without a doubt. He's not afraid to tell anybody either.
But see, him and his wife during the 2018 midterms, I mean, thank God they were funneling money into the RNC because they were trying to help the Republicans keep the House and the Senate. I mean, Sheldon Adelson was single-handedly literally funding the RNC. And right now the RNC's like flooded with cash. Thank God for that.
Oh no, their
And I
third
think,
quarter. Remember, we were talking the other night. And I said, yeah, if you could donate before the before October 1st, because the quarter changes,
mm-hmm,
and we wanted those big quarter numbers, the big third quarter numbers, and we got them. He raised it
yeah,
was between him and the RNC. I think they raised 125 million. And 50,000 of which came from brand new donors, first time donors, which is excellent. And that was right after the
mm-hmm,
impeachment shit. Right after the impeachment shit hit, the guy Brad Parscale, who runs Trump's campaign, he said we got 50,000 first time donors after that impeachment shit went
mm-hmm,
down. And in fact, the
mm-hmm,
guy Dan Pfeiffer used to work for President Obama. See, Trump up to this point, Obama in 2011, same type of situation, 2011 before the 2012 election, Obama had raised Trump has raised $300 million for the year so far. Okay, the Obama administration, Obama team only raised about 150 million over that same period of time. And for the third quarter, where they raised 125 million, Trump team, Obama team only raised 70 million. So Pfeiffer wrote on a tweet. He goes, "Hey, this is a wake-up call because and he's writing that's a lot of money. He's going to be able to
mm-hmm,
go
yeah,
early and fast and furious,
mm-hmm,
before the Democrats have the money to catch up. So they're going to be able to get
mm-hmm,
that message. And I donated money prior to the quarter ending. I was telling you about that, and because I wanted the
mm-hmm,
numbers up, and a lot of Americans did the
mm-hmm,
same thing. And I mean, that's 125 million in one quarter. That's that's
mm-hmm,
phenomenal. That has never happened. That never
yeah,
happens. Never happens.
oh yeah. It's interesting because Sheldon Adelson spent like $50 million trying to beat Obama in 2013. What was funny was how he backed him on Syria, but I guess maybe, because I think at the time, wasn't Syria having an issue with Israel? Because Sheldon Adelson's a huge supporter of Israel.
Well, he's a huge supporter.
Um,
He's a huge supporter of Israel, so
but
he was happy to see the civil war continue. Because
yeah,
then
yeah,
Syria has been involved in the last two major wars, Syria,
mm-hmm,
Egypt, 67. Jordan was part of 67 also, and then of course in 73.
mm-hmm,
So for Israel, they're like,
yeah,
well, if that country's messed up, they can't be attacking us. So
mm-hmm,
Adelson, I'm sure, was in favor of Israel, of Syria going through a civil war. He was in favor of the chaos inside the country because that just was one less country they had to worry about.
yeah. Well, Adelson, it's funny because I know Adelson does not like Soros. At least I've read things that he doesn't. And I remember Adelson, he tried to actually fund a group that tried to counteract Media Matters or some of the Soros groups, but I guess he didn't have the experience, or the people he hired didn't have the experience to really, know how to handle Soros and his people. Because let's face it, back in 2013, the left had power. So any attempt probably would have been quashed by left-wing groups. I read a story on that. I forget the name of the organization that Adelson tried to start, but it sounds to me like, I mean, you would think, I guess, it's funny because sometimes these billionaires, they have business dealings with each other, but they don't even, they might deal with each other on a professional level, I guess, but they don't like each other's ideology. But, what's really interesting is that Mercer doesn't really have Adelson's fight. I mean, Mercer's, got a pretty deep pocketbook himself, but it seems like Mercer's a lot more effective at changing the tide of things for our side than Adelson is because, again, Mercer has studied. He knows they've been around that. In fact, I think Mercer developed algorithm. He was like he worked for IBM for a long time, I think, and I think he actually developed computer algorithms, if I'm not mistaken, because they say he's a brilliant computer scientist. But these billionaires, and don't get me wrong, I understand that Mercer's no angel. I know that. He could do something tomorrow that we can disprove of. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why I've always said I still don't know what the Mercers want. But, for whatever reason, they're backing our side. But what are do they want power too?
Well,
See, that's
sure.
the thing, and that's the question.
It's hard to find somebody who is, truly altruistic. I mean, if somebody with money, I don't know what they want. Maybe they want power, they want access. Who knows? And they're going to use us to get it.
Mm-hmm.
If we support them, then then maybe Trump will be happy with that. I don't know. So yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, you never know what's behind somebody, what they're doing. I have no idea.
yeah, yeah. Well, we all know what the Bilderberg Group's about, but I don't know. I don't know if Mercer runs in those circles or not. I mean, it's kind of hard for someone to be in his spot and not run in some kind of circle of the Bilderberg Group, because you can have a company that has ties to the Bilderberg Group and not even know about it. And it's
Right.
funny, you can work for a company that has ties to a globalist and not even know it. Like, there's hundreds of millions or hundreds of thousands of people out there who work for Soros and probably are even completely unaware that Soros exists. And that's how deep this entire cabal goes. I mean, look at businesses, how they're literally throwing their money away and throwing their just losing money because they want to push a narrative. I mean,
Right.
somebody has to have the influence in order to make those decisions for those companies. And these progressives can't fathom this. They don't. In fact, they think politicians care about them, and that's the dumbest thing. I mean, if you have a progressive who thinks like someone like Bernie Sanders cares about them and wants to do this, they're living. They're not even living in reality. They're living. I'm sorry, Carl. It makes you want to pound your head against the wall to think that politicians care about us. This is why conservatives want limited government. One of the reasons why they want limited government, because they want to do things for themselves, and they just need government to make life easier
Easy,
for us.
right? The whole point of government is that it's supposed to serve the people, not the other way around. In other words, it's supposed to make your life easier to be able to get things done on your own. Government's not supposed to come in and take care of you. You don't want that, because well, who the hell's in charge, and who the hell defines what taking care of means? Taking care of means maybe that, well, I'm taking care of all of you, so all of you have to live in like a little one-bedroom apartment, because that way I can take care of everybody, and that's I can't let people live in two-story houses. We all have to live like in a one-bedroom apartment somewhere, maybe two bedrooms if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Kind of like old communist Soviet Union. So yeah, I mean, if you have government taking care of you, then it all depends who it is that's taking care of you. It's like there was somebody, I was in a chat with somebody, and I can't remember what they said. Yeah, no, I can't remember, but it was something like if you allow them to give you the power, if you hold your hand out, if you're expecting them to give you something, and they give you something in one hand, that gives them the power to slap you with the other hand. You know what I'm saying? So they can give it to you, then they can threaten to take it away, and then once they do that, they control you. And that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's they see, because and this is for the cheap seats. Sorry, Carl, I don't mean to always address them, but if they're going to come and listen, I hope they learn something. If government, I mean, look at Medicare, for example. Look how long it takes for a doctor to get paid by Medicare, right? And that's even if they get paid. What if, what if, like, they say, okay, well, you have to claim this, and then you can claim this on your taxes that you weren't paid, and then they get some kind of a tax break. Well, it's not quite the same, Or let's say they, or they're given, let's see, what is it, like not a voucher, but it's like it's similar to an IOU, right? Because Medicare has so many things that they're backlogged from 2 to 3 years ago, and that's not even counting. And some of that is because of these illegals who come in here and they're getting their free health care. I don't know how much of funds from, I think Medicare funds some of the illegal, I don't know this for sure, but I believe doesn't Medicare, some of the tax money that that pays for illegal immigrants' care comes from Medicare or not TRICARE, but from Medicare. I always thought that they diverted some money to them and even now with these sanctuary cities passing health care for illegal immigrants, Medicare is, they're trying to expand Medicare. They're trying to make it bigger,
Right.
And again, they want that federal government to get bigger because obviously federal government handles the social safety nets and makes, decides what programs, what areas, what counties need more assistance, and but anyway, the point that I'm getting at is that look how long it takes Medicare to pay somebody, right? These progressives can't understand this because imagine this on a large scale level.
Oh God, no. Yeah,
imagine
exactly.
This,
Yeah, that would be insane. Yeah, that's what people don't realize. It's like the bureaucracy that has to be set up to handle this, to make those day-to-day decisions that people normally make, on their own, and somebody has to make all those decisions. And the amount of bureaucracy you would need would be outrageous. There'd be no control over it. It would just be terrible. The customer service would be shit. You can't fire these people once they get in. No, I mean it's just awful. Yeah, that would be terrible. And they don't realize. I don't know why they don't realize it. Just the price tag. When she says $3.5 trillion a year, well, first of all, none of these big, government programs never come in either at the budget they say it's going to be or under it. It's always more. It's always more. So that $3.5 billion is probably more like $4.5 billion per year. Because once they get into the weeds, we miscalculated. We didn't realize it was the next thing is $4.5 billion, then $5 billion. I mean, it's just yanking money right out of the economy, right out of people who are creating jobs and everything else. It's crazy, and they push it like they know something, but they don't. They don't know anything. Okay, they're wrong on this one. Free market economies have lifted people out of poverty, have brought people into the middle class all around the world. That's free market economy. And yes, rich people are going to get rich. But that top 1%, like Shapiro was saying, the top 1% is not static. It doesn't. You go in and out of the 1%. So you're making a lot of money, you're in the 1%. Then you're not making a lot of money, you're out of the 1%. So it's not like there's just this 1% group of people and they're always the same people. That's nonsense. There are people entering into that group who are making money, becoming wealthy. Jeff Bezos wasn't always in the 1%. He was probably like in the, bottom 70%. Okay, but now he's in the 1%. He's on top of the 1%. He is the 1%. Okay, but he wasn't always there. And if Amazon went south, if somebody came up with a better process like Target.com or something, and he started losing money, then he'd be out of the one. I mean, it'd take a long time for him to get out of the 1% because how much money he's got. But still, In fact, I just got some items. I just got some items from Amazon yesterday, free 2-day shipping. Yay, Amazon! Yay.
And Amazon employs a lot of people.
They employ a shitload of people.
And thank God they do.
They're expanding. They're expanding their operations in Las Vegas, and they're building another big warehouse kind of distribution center. Yeah.
I mean, and what the cheap seats don't understand too about a Medicare for all and a health care for all. See, which is it, health care and Medicare? Because guess what? They're one and the same. But the cheap seats don't understand that. It's just, they say, you have a right to try and get access to health care. You do not have a right to have health care. You know what I'm saying? You have opportunity like everyone else to get health care. And that's what the cheap seats have to understand. It is not a human right. You have a human right to try and get health care if you are a legal citizen and you pay your taxes like you're supposed to, and you're not a drudge on the economy, on our country, and not only that, but what if government decides, that, so-and-so who makes only $20,000 a year, let's say you get a bunch of people. See, that's one of the other reasons why they want to redistribute. The Democrats want to, gerrymander and make districts smaller because, they have, they want to lump all the low income people together, and then they want a district that is a middle class district, right? And that middle class district is going to have to foot the bill for all the smaller districts that can't afford to pay the medical bills. The government's going to set their premiums higher. They're going to make it, and on top of that, the middle class is going to have the mortgages.
Hold on. Two things. Mm-hmm. One, Pro-Life America 45 is going night. So, hey, good night, Pro-Life America 45. Have a good one.
Good night.
And further, Irina Linsky just came in, and she says, hey, Carl's opinion is the great douchebag, and everyone in the chat room. So, Irina's in there as well.
Well, I guess they can get my name in there. Cool. I've had people tell me that when they try to put my name, it disappears. So I'm like, Yeah, YouTube does not like me. They don't. They do not
Well, it's a
like
name.
me
I
at
told
all.
you. No, it's a
I
name.
know.
It's a name. It's a disgusting name. It sounds disgusting. I mean, what
No,
your name what your name represents is a disgusting device that are used by women in a disgusting manner. It's disgusting. So I don't even.
yeah,
If you notice on I have you listed up there, guest the great dirtbag. I'm not going to write that
yeah.
other thing up
No, I
there.
know. I know.
I mean, that's gross.
No, oh no, I don't blame
It
you, Paul.
conjures
No, I
well,
know. I don't blame you.
it conjures up all kinds of awful images. I'm sorry, it just does.
No, I know. I know.
It's a gross
But
process. It's just gross.
no,
But
I
anyway,
have to find out. Somebody on Joe's channel has a name called Meth Head Attack Squirrel, and I'm like, man, what a creative name.
wait. What was his name?
Huh?
What was his name?
Meth Head Attack Squirrel.
Wait, what was it? What was
It
this?
was
Wait, what was the second part? And what? I heard the first part, but again, and
oh,
what?
Attack Squirrel, Meth Head Attack Squirrel. And he was in
Oh,
Joe's chat one night. Joe was live streaming, and I thought it was hilarious, that name. I should have super chatted, I should have super chatted him, if he congrats on the name, but it was, I wish I came up with a clever name like that. But,
right.
I figured the name I'd give myself, because a lot of these left-wing trolls have always called me that, and what's really funny is in comments, these trolls that come into these comments, they go, you really live up to your namesake. And I know what they're doing. They're looking for me to
Right.
to get back at them, and it ain't going to happen. I'm not going to curse at them. I'm not going to play their game. And I just say, well, thank you. I like my name too. But as ABL says, I digress. But anyway, so the middle class has to pay for the lower districts, right, in their areas, in the surrounding areas, right? So then the middle class, see, that's what these policies are designed to do, is to decimate the middle class. They want
to get look the middle class. Right,
Mhm.
because being middle class means you have a certain sense of independence. Not a lot. You're
Yeah.
not rich. You're not wealthy, but you can think for yourself. You don't have. You're not dependent on a paycheck from the government. You're not worried about a cost of living increase on your on your Social Security disability check, or you get like more money
Mhm.
on your EBT card this month for whatever reason. You're not dependent on the government, and the Democrats always champion those causes. So you don't have to vote Democrat to make sure you get a pay raise, which is really not a pay
Yeah.
raise.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. But I mean, they want to, but they want to,
Wait, hold it.
you know,
Hold it. Arena agrees with me. She goes, you should read her chat right now. I'm not going to read it out loud, but
mm-hmm.
if you read it, you'll understand. It's like, yes, Arena, I think the same way you are on this issue. Totally the same way as you do on this issue. I've asked them to change the name too. You changed it for a while, then you changed it back. Why? I do not know. But anyway.
No, I probably should. I can't. I gotta wait another 90 days.
Well, even the one I have up there, I mean, it makes you sound like
Mhm.
like a loser, like an asshole, and you're not. I mean, you should, I don't know,
No,
have something else, like on something positive and forceful and uplifting. I don't know,
mm-hmm.
something that I mean, look,
Yeah,
you're a positive. Oh, okay,
mhm.
hold on. Your personality. I mean, I've talked to you a lot of times on this show. Your personality is
Mhm.
positive and uplifting. So you need a
Mhm.
name to reflect that, because your name sounds like you're like
Mhm.
negative nanny or something, but that's not you. Your
Yeah.
name sounds like that, but
Mhm.
that's not you. You should find, I don't know, like a positive energy kind of name.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Mhm.
without getting too
When,
hippie on you.
no. It's cool. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, Joe had similar concerns because he would he like in some of his super chat or some of his chats he would go, man, I hate calling you that because you're not that. So he calls me DB, which is what a lot
Yeah,
of people have called me
yeah,
too.
DB, but still,
But
your name is out there, and it's just I don't know. Have you ever thought of a different name? Something positive?
well, um, I probably should. I mean, I should. I agree because I think it would probably maybe overcome. Well, again, I don't make the accusation, but I think I'm being shadow banned. It'd probably get me out of the shadow banning. Um, yeah, I mean, I probably should change it, but I got to think about it, like what to change it to. But I yeah, no, I do. I have to, but oh man, I got a rep to maintain but I get what you're saying, Carl. Don't get me wrong, I get it, and I take it into consideration. I'm not a closed-minded individual. I'm not, um, but I just think that my namesake represents what I am to these trolls and these elites, and But again, I get it, and I probably should change it as we
Irina has
as
a good
we
wait. Irina has a good suggestion. She writes,
the
"How about
informer.
the informer?" Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. That sounds kind of
Yeah,
badass too.
yeah, that's cool.
Or the
You know
great
what? Let me see if I can change it.
the great informer.
Let me see if I can change it. You
See,
know
like
what? All right,
if
here.
you ma-
You guys talking me to it.
if you made it the great informer, then people would know it was you.
Uh huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. The great
Oh wow.
informer. Well, it sounds like a badass
Let me
name,
see.
and it sounds kind of and it fits what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You inform people of
Let me
shit.
see if I
You
can.
like, hey, check out this guy's
Mm-hmm.
site. Hey, check out this story.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, check this out. Hey, go over there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, check it out. That's what you do. It
Let
actually
me see if
fits
I can
exactly what
change it.
you
You
do.
know what? You guys talking me to it. Let me see if I can
Ah,
change
there
it.
we go. We did it. We did
Um.
it. We did it. All right, good deal.
Let me
Yeah, I
see.
like that.
Let me
Boy,
see.
that Arena is pretty
Mm-hmm.
smart. That's a smart person.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
a good
She is.
one. Came up with a good name there.
Let me see. Hold on. I gotta go into. It may not because I had just changed it back. But let me see. But it's worth a try. It's worth a try.
Or
Let me see.
Even Solex wrote another one that sounded pretty good. The Great Scam Buster.
Great Scam Buster.
Both
Let's
are good.
see.
I like the Great Informer better though. I'd go with that. I'd go with that.
Let me see. I'm gonna try. Okay, I'm gonna see. It's funny. Total Eclipse is probably gonna wonder who I am again because I have another account and he's already like, is that you, DB? Is that you? All right. Let's see. All right, I did it. Okay.
All
Let me
right.
go back and I will prove that I did it. Let's see. Yeah, you're probably right, Carl. I probably ought to have a new name, especially as we are coming into 2020. I got a
Right.
second account
Well,
that I
yeah,
can,
because you're gonna be doing like a lot of campaigning on the on these social media platforms. You know.
hmm hmm
Oh wait, hold on. Let me do this.
But let me see. Let me do my. All right, there we go. I changed it. You see it?
Yeah. And look on your screen.
Okay.
I changed it. Well, now you can't see it yet. Well, you'll see it in a second. I changed it
Yeah.
on. Yeah, there it is. I changed it as the guest is the great informer on the phone.
Yeah. But yeah, you know what? I got my other account, and I'll just, I can use that. I can use I'll just use that one. What I'm saying? Because you can have more than one account on YouTube. People do it all the time when they create backup channels.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of which, one of our former friends is no longer on YouTube. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know. I know.
Which
Where's he
is
at? Where's he at?
I think
Where's
he's on D Live now. I know he's on BitChute. He's on BitChute. But I think he's got over 1,000 members to his channel.
Well, that's a
On
lot on
BitChute.
yeah that's a lot on BitChute. No,
Yeah,
I post a
yeah, it
video
is.
there. I post a video there, and two people looked at it, me and somebody else. It's like, oh, that's
Oh,
good.
really?
Yeah, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that's nice. But yeah, it's just
hmm
it's not as easy. The search is not as easy to navigate on BitChute. It
hmm
just isn't. Look, YouTube
Yeah.
started it. The geniuses that put all this together. I mean, let's be honest. It's the best platform out there. I mean, it's just the things that
Yeah.
If you're a content creator, you're actually in there creating content. And anybody out there, I know Irina creates content. She'll tell you, it's very simple to use. It's very easy to use. You don't. Any idiot
hmm
can use it. It really is that simple. I mean, they just make it very simple to,
hmm
and like, and going live again. You don't need 1,000 subs to go live. You don't need a 1,000 sub mark to go live. You can't do it on
hmm
a cell phone. You have to do it like on a laptop or a desktop. But other than that,
hmm
you're fine. No problems.
hmm
Oh yeah, you please
Informer
your
could bring
fans.
people.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, right. I like Scam Buster better. Informer could bring people not to trust. Well,
No, I like Informer.
I don't. Yeah, no, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
Um,
Arena likes it. North Guy likes it.
mm,
And Freedom isn't free likes it. Solix likes
mhm,
Scambuster, but that's okay.
yeah.
But still, I think the vote count is in. Crazy Chick, bit of heart and all that stuff up there too.
Mhm.
So yeah,
You know, because
I
I'll
think.
tell you, I don't think there are people are seeing my comments on Joe's channel.
Well, I
So
think they'll
you
see it.
know
I think
that.
they'll see him now. Well, the word might YouTube may be keeping the word your name off. Like when you post something with your name
Mhm,
on it, it's a name because
mhm.
it's obnoxious. So they may keep that
Yeah,
off just for
yeah,
the sake of the name. That could
yeah.
happen
That's
too.
true. That's true.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
plus now I
I,
think you have a lot more access too.
yeah.
I think you'll
Yeah,
see
that's
that
true.
you're not shadow banned anymore. Which is good
Mhm.
because you need
Yeah.
to be out there. You need to be out there sharing your message. I mean, you need to be doing that.
Yeah. But
You don't want to be
this
held
will
back.
make it. Mhm. Yeah, this will make it easier for like Rena Thomas because I was it's funny I felt bad she went live and because she'd asked me to do a call-in show with her and I told her I would and she did a show but I didn't get the notification that she went live and we all know how that goes I kind of
Yeah.
felt bad and I'm trying to get her to come over to your show too, Carl. Because
Well,
she's a great patriot and she's she's getting her channel going. I just hope she can make it over to 1,000 members so she can live stream next year. But and that's something and everybody please support the R-rated conservative. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but really he's a great guy. The guy's a wealth of knowledge. Please help him get over 1,000 members to his channel, or else he's going to lose the ability to live stream. That's another way we show these people. Look, we're not going
hold
anywhere.
it, wait, hold
You
it,
know,
wait. Is YouTube coming up with a new rule saying you can't live stream if you have less than 1,000?
that's what I've been hearing. That's what I've been hearing.
They're
I
going
don't
to
know.
are they going to come up with that rule that says that? Because right now they don't have that rule. The
They've been.
only rule they have is you cannot live stream off your phone.
Mhm.
Right. So
Yeah,
are they changing
but
it?
I think mhm. that's what I've been hearing. I haven't heard anything official, but that's what I know. That I saw a thing on the already conservatives um, thing on one of his live shows um, where he has to get over like 1,000 members. I can't use the S word. Oh, and everybody do not use the S word. Just use members or followers because of the algorithms. And
Okay.
that brings me to another thing I was going to say. But anyway, yeah, because I don't know. I got to find out more about it. But I will definitely, if I find out something, I will let everybody know. But apparently, if you don't have 1,000 members to your channel, you're not going to be able to live stream at all. But that's what's the rumor that's going around. But knowing YouTube, as much as I like YouTube and as much as they're good to us, they still make it harder for us to get our message out. But hey, look, let's play by their rules and get the message out at the same time. We gotta work double time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
But
we're getting it out, and they are holding us back, but we're getting the message out. I mean,
hmm
every content creator out there is getting their message out. It's not as
yeah,
they don't make it easy. They don't make it easy for us, but we're here.
yeah.
So there you go.
Well, but see, they know we're winning the argument. That's why they want to shut us down
Oh
because
yeah.
we are winning the
Well,
argument.
yeah. Oh, we totally have we totally have the facts on our side, and in many cases on legal
Yeah.
issues we have the law on our side. So we have the facts. You have the fact. There's no saying like if you're in court, it's like okay, this is where this is where the left is right now. Okay, there's an old saying in court.
hmm
If you don't have the facts on your side, you pound the law. Okay, you push the law.
Yeah.
The facts are not on your side. If you don't have the law on your side, you pound the facts. You hit on the facts. Now, if you don't have the law or the facts on your side, you pound the table.
Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you yell and scream and
Yeah.
bitch and moan and screech and whatever because that's
Yeah.
you can't make an argument on the law or the facts, so you're
hmm
just going to yell and scream the loudest and hopefully that wins, which is
Yeah.
stupid.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And one other thing too that people can do, especially like content creators, and like because we know that the Google algorithms manipulate searches. However, if you were to go, let's say if you go to OANN's website, right, or like Epic Times, a conservative news outlet, guess what? Because of the vast majority that the content they put out is conservative, you're going to find mostly conservative news. And sometimes when these people, the content creators, when they go looking for a story, they gotta okay. First, you gotta get past the algorithm, because we all know anytime you download something from a Google Play Store or a Apple Play Store, you're subject to their algorithms. But even if you search on DuckDuckGo, you still downloaded that from a Google Play Store, you're still subject to that algorithms. But there may be an algorithm that's not there based on how many searches are made using that search engine. You know, I'm not a computer scientist, but it doesn't take, if you think about things for a while, it's like I found a way to get over the shadow banning on Parler. Use hashtags. Break up words. Why do you think Trump misspells words sometimes? Because he's breaking through those algorithms when he sends out a tweet.
Well, plus he knows if he misspells them, people are going to make fun of him, and then they're going to put his tweet on like the liberal news stations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like when Al Sharpton misspelled, what was it? That word he misspelled.
Oh, what was that?
I don't know what it was, but
it was really stupid. But no, that wasn't to get attention. That was I can't remember what word he misspelled, but I covered it. I remember I covered it when he did that. Yeah.
Yeah. Tony X. I don't know if you know who Tony X is.
No.
He does not like Al Sharpton at all. He despises Al Sharpton. And I remember watching an interview with Pastor Mark Burns and Al Sharpton. Pastor Mark Burns was defending Trump against Al Sharpton. But Pastor Mark Burns, he knows what Trump is trying to accomplish.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, anybody with half a brain knows what Trump is trying to accomplish. He's trying to bring this country together. He's trying to lift everybody up who's down, like below the poverty line, get them into working class status. He's trying to lift the working class people into the middle class. And he's trying to lift the middle class into a position where they're comfortable and they can send their kids to college. So that he's doing that right now, and that is happening in real time. So, that's why they can't run on the economy. They can't run on foreign wars. They can only run on, Trump is a bad person. That's it. That's all they have.
Yeah.
And that's why they're going to push this impeachment shit. They're going to try to string it out for as long as they can. The last thing they want is to get in front of the Senate, too close. They hope in the House. They hope they can just string this thing along for a year without even sending it to the Senate. And then right before the election, they'll vote to impeach, and it won't give the Senate enough time to be able to do anything. So that's their plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're just hoping they can string it out for a full year.
Yeah, I put out a post a while back on my wall in Parler, and I said that there's nothing more worse than a uninformed Democrat voter. The one thing that's worse than an uninformed Democrat voter is a conservative who stays home because they're throwing a fit that their candidate didn't win the primary. And
I agree.
Some people mad. I made some people mad, but it's the truth. Conservatives have to hear this.
That is the truth. Mm-hmm. It is. An uninformed Democrat. Well, who gives a shit? Okay, screw them. They're lost. Okay, but a conservative who stays home because their primary person didn't win in the primaries, they're going to stay home and let the Democrat win. No, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and Carl, that's something that I wish more content creators would talk about. I mean, there's ways they can do it without offending people. You know what I'm saying? They can explain why it's important to get out and vote. I'm getting involved on a local, trying to help him get his channel going, and hopefully people respond. Hopefully people, pick up on this movement. Because we all know that they don't want another walkaway from the Democrats. That's why they're
right.
In my opinion, why they're suppressing the Roll Exit channel and the Roll Exit movement.
Well, they suppressed the walkaway. They would never let it trend, even though it was trending all over the place. And then it was picking up a lot of steam. They said, "Oh, these are all just bots." So then the guy, I can't remember the guy's name, who runs Walkaway. He says, "Okay, you guys have to do YouTube videos to
Mhm.
prove you're a real person." So they started all their
Yeah.
videos a year ago saying, "Okay, I am a real person, and here's my video."
Yeah.
And they gave testimonials.
Mhm.
No, I covered that the other night where I said, "Look, you got a rhino in there right now, okay, but he's got an R next to his name." I go, "We don't need to be
Mhm.
challenging, anybody." We need the numbers in the Senate and the House. Say Romney votes with the Democrats on the impeachment issue. Okay, but guess what?
Mhm.
Romney being there, first of all, a Democrat in place would vote with the Democrats, right? No matter what. Okay, but Romney being there
Yeah.
gives that extra vote number, that count number. It gives Mitch McConnell, a little leeway for having the majority in the Senate, which means he gets to control the entire impeachment process once it ends up in the Senate. That's important. And not to mention having that
Yeah.
vote number that allows them to, get the judges on the bench and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure Romney's voted pretty much in line with the judges that have been selected. So, that's
Mhm.
important too. Because, these district court judges and circuit court of appeal judges and U.S. Supreme Court judges, they're all relatively young. Kavanaugh's my age. He's 54. I mean, he's going to be on the bench for another 20,
Mhm.
30 years. I mean, think of all the policy that's going to be affected by these young U.S. District Court judges, Circuit Court of Appeal judges for the next 30 years. I mean, think about
Yeah.
that. And then
Oh
you
yeah.
have to hold your nose and vote for Romney, but he gives you that extra vote count, that number to get you, like right now I think we have 53. So with him it gives 53, but say it was like 51, he'd be that extra vote number, and he might vote for with the Democrats all
Mhm.
the time, but who cares? We control the Senate, we control the agenda. And right now you see what the
Yeah.
House is doing. They control the House. They control the agenda, and their agenda sucks. And like Tucker covered a
Yeah.
story. Tucker covered a story with his congressman today, where they were trying to pass a law in the House. Trying to pass a bill rather in the House, whereby they said within 90 days you have to have electronic record storage for illegal aliens. Well, they're doing
Mhm.
that for the veterans because it's going to take several years. So the Republicans went to them and said, "Okay, tell you what, we'll give you this 90-day thing for the illegal aliens, but we want it in there that before they can get their electronic records, which makes it easier to treat them, we have to do the veterans thing, get that done first. Once we get that done, hey,
Yeah.
we'll tie it in your bill. You can have your 90 days for the illegals, but we want the veterans done first." And the Democrats voted
Yeah.
against it. They voted against it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the Democrats, they want, they want to. I mean, it's the same. They want to replenish their base. They want to replenish their voter base, and not only that, they want to. You always hear this talk about Agenda 21 or 23. I've never heard of it. I mean, I've heard of
Oh
it,
no,
but
it's a UN.
I don't.
No, you can look it up. It's the UN agenda. It's UN Agenda 21. It talks about like combating climate change and doing things like combating climate emissions and like with roads and stuff, and making it harder for people to want to drive their own car. So you create
Hmm.
you do things like you decrease the number of lanes on a highway. Then you take one of the lanes away, make it a bike lane. So the traffic gets so bad that
Hmm.
people say, "Oh fuck it, I'm going to take public transportation," because public transportation might take you like 2.5 hours to get home, 3 hours to get home. Well, they make the streets so miserable that it takes you 2.5, 3 hours to drive your car. Then maybe you'll take the bus.
Hmm.
They're trying to control your behavior
Hmm.
to effectuate some bullshit
Yeah.
climate change agenda. But yeah, you can look it up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, United
Hmm.
Nations, whatever it is, 21. It's right
Hmm.
there. It's public.
You know, if they can get a conservative chancellor elected in Germany, and that chancellor hopefully pulls Germany out of the EU. I hope Brexit happens this month. It's supposed to happen this month, but if,
Right.
if they can get a conservative elected in the presidential or the chancellor of Germany, then Germany pulls out of the EU. Guess what? The EU's finished. The EU is done if Germany leaves the EU. I
Right.
mean, they're already having enough trouble with
Oh no!
Britain
Oh
wanting
no!
to
No!
leave the
If,
EU.
if if Germany left the EU, that's all their money. Their money goes with them, and then because France would be
Yeah.
soon, France would have to leave as well, because then France would be getting all the bills. And France is like, "Oh fuck that! We're not going to get stuck with all the bills. We were sharing it with Germany, but we're not because they have a good economy over in France too. So they're like, oh, we're not getting stuck with the bill,
Yeah.
so we're out too. Bye." And then you'd have all these
Yeah.
debtor. The only people left would be a bunch of debtor countries, and the EU would just have to dissolve because there'd be nobody paying the bills. It'd just be people, looking for money. So no, it would be a disaster. But I tell you what, though, man, I've been on almost 2 hours here, so I'm going to go ahead and call
Oh
it a
yes.
night. I'm going to call it a night for the live
Okay.
stream. So let me get back on here real quick here. Boom. All right. So yeah, but
Oh
anyway,
wow. It's
it's about midnight my time. But anyway, I want to thank everybody that's been in the chat room tonight, and I want to thank everybody that's been viewing us, and everybody who'll be viewing us later. And I want to just say have a great night, and just keep on doing what we're doing out there, and keep participating, keep voting, keep talking about the issues. They're real important. Keep sharing our stories and letting everybody know, hey, you're not alone. Don't listen to the mainstream media who says, you're all,
Yep.
you're all alone and you're a loser, you're deplorable and shit. Don't let them get to you, all that bullshit.
Yep.
So just keep the faith and keep it going. But anyway, have a great night, everybody. And Mr. Great Informer, your new name, Mr. Great Informer. Would you like to say good night to everybody?
Yep. Everybody. Good night. Good night. Good night, Crazy Chick Sheena. Good night, Solex. Good night, Arena Linsky. Hey, come on, I please my fans. If you guys wanted me to change my name, so be it. I changed my name. But, but you'll probably still see me on my other account, But you'll know who they'll know who I am. They'll see me. But
Right.
Hey, come on. But when I come here, I'll be the Great Informer. That I promise. So, but everybody, have a good night, and, get involved on a local level. Please support Operation Border Command. Share it on your social medias. We please help American Joe and Douglas Dakota. They gotta, they need to raise money to get down to the border. Please, anybody who can, if you guys can donate a few bucks, please, or at least share it on your social medias. Get the word out there. We gotta get that message out.
All right, guys. All right, guys. Have a great night, and Mr. Dirtbag, you have a great night too. And hey, thank you,
All right,
you,
you
Mr.
too, Carl.
Oh, I called you the other name again. Thank you, Mr. Informer.
That's all good.
Thanks for the great phone call, man. Have a good one.
Oh, always. You too. Good night.
All right, bye bye.